I can never forget that moment, the moment when everything in my life changed with just one email. My name is James, a soldier who has served in the military for over 15 years. As a sergeant major of the 82nd Airborne Division, I was used to challenges, desert storms, and long marches, but nothing could have prepared me for the news I received on a hot afternoon in Kandahar. That day, I was sitting in the dilapidated military tent, the computer screen lit up with a new email notification. It was an email from my wife, Sarah. We'd been married for 13 years. To me, this marriage was everything. We had shared sweet moments, quiet nights together, and had built a family. I couldn't believe what I was seeing on the screen. The subject line of the email was just one sentence: "Let's be adults about this." I opened the email and read the cold, simple, and painful lines. Sarah had filed for divorce, emptied our joint account, and moved her new boyfriend into the house I had spent years building. There was no explanation, no complaints, just a short paragraph that contained an entire world of brokenness. "We've come to this. I think we should end it." That was all I got. No explanation for the change, no understanding for the years I had dedicated, the sacrifices I had made. I had worked tirelessly all these years to provide for our family, to create a stable life. Now everything was shattered. I read the email over and over again, as if time had stopped. I couldn't think anymore. I just felt paralyzed. But after a while, I closed the laptop, walked to the bathroom, washed up quickly, and got ready for my shift. I didn't say a word to anyone. It felt like no words could explain what I was going through. When I returned to my bunk that night, I opened the laptop again and replied to Sarah's email. I just typed one word: understood. That was all I could say. No argument, no requests, just the understanding that it was all over. Wilson, my friend, who shared the tent with me, noticed something was off. "You good, James?" he asked, not taking his eyes off his book. "Nothing's wrong," I replied, my voice dry. "Just some stuff at home." But it wasn't just some stuff. The feeling of loss, betrayal, and the pain of witnessing the end of a chapter in my life had pushed me into a hole I couldn't get out of. No one here could understand. It felt like I had lost everything I loved, all in one email. The emptiness was indescribable. I stayed up all night, unable to sleep. Under the dim light in the tent, I returned to the computer screen, trying to find a sign, a reason, but it was all just darkness. I had thought I understood Sarah. We had so many beautiful memories, so many nights filled with laughter. Now, I couldn't comprehend this decision. The next morning I stepped outside, the sun high in the sky. The scorching desert air seemed to swallow everything. I didn't know why I was still here. Just a week ago, I had sent Sarah a message telling her that I was about to complete my mission and would be coming home. I had promised to spend time with her, to travel together, and to make up for everything we had lost. But now, none of that mattered. I called my family to let them know what was happening. It felt strange telling my mother and siblings about this. I didn't want them to worry, but I couldn't keep it from them. When I told my mum, her voice trembled, unable to believe it. "Son, how did this happen? There must be some misunderstanding." But I knew there was no misunderstanding. Sarah had made her decision, and everything was over. Day by day, I continued working as usual. The army didn't allow me to stop. Every time I stepped onto the base, I returned to my work, trying not to think about what was happening. But at night, when everything was quiet, the emptiness would engulf me again. I still thought about the good times, the moments we shared, and the hope for a bright future. But now, it all felt like a dream I couldn't return to. A week later, I received a call from Sarah. Her voice was cold, emotionless. "James, I think we need to talk more. I've moved out. I feel like this is the right decision. It felt like I was listening to someone else, not the wife I had once loved. I listened every word without interrupting, because I knew there was nothing I could change. "So you're sure about this?" I asked, my voice hoarse. "Sorry, James. This is what I have to do. I need to live my life." That feeling hit me again. The coldness, the indifference. The person I had dedicated my whole life to had decided to cut everything off without looking back. I didn't know how to feel anymore. This feeling, it wasn't like any pain I had ever experienced before. Something inside me twisted, but there was nothing I could do about it. After that call, I just closed the door and continued working. I didn't want to face the truth. I didn't want to know more about what Sarah had done. But that night, when I was lying alone in the tent, I couldn't help but ask myself, why? I kept asking myself what I had done wrong. I had loved her. I had tried my best. Yet everything ended like this. Day by day, I kept facing questions without answers. My comrades saw that I was quiet, not as cheerful as before, but they didn't ask. They just thought I was tired from work. They didn't know that what was tiring me wasn't the desert, wasn't the mission, but not knowing what to do with my life after losing the person I loved most. A month later, I came home. No one was there to welcome me, no smiles, just silence. I walked into the house, the place that used to be our home, and it felt like I was stepping into another world. The house was no longer filled with the warmth of family. It was just an empty place. Everything was the same, but I knew everything had changed. Sarah wasn't here anymore, and I had to face the fact that I couldn't change anything. I had lost her. I had lost my family, and now all I had left were painful memories. But I also realized that life had to go on. I couldn't keep living in the past, even though that past haunted me every day. When I got home, I walked down the familiar hallway, feeling like each step I took echoed in the emptiness of the house. The house no longer had Sarah's warmth, the laughter of our daughter. Everything was quiet, just the things we once used together, now lifeless decorations. The whole house was just me, facing a truth I couldn't escape. I sat down on the armchair where we used to sit together on long nights. I remembered the early days when Sarah and I first got married. We had so many plans, so many dreams. We dreamed of a happy family, a full life. But now all of that was shattered. I didn't know what to do anymore. Everything seemed to be turning against me. No wife, no family, no partner to share my worries. Each day passed, and I tried to find a reason to keep going, but there was an emptiness I couldn't fill. A few weeks later, I decided to meet Sarah. After all, I couldn't continue living like this. I needed clarity. I needed to know why she had done this. I called her, but she didn't answer, leaving a cold voicemail. By then, I had no hope left for us to fix our relationship. One morning, I decided to go to her house. When I stood in front of the door, I didn't know what to say. Sarah opened the door, looked at me without saying a word, her eyes cold. "Do you have something to say?" The question was devoid of any emotion. I felt like I was talking to a complete stranger. "Why did this happen?" I asked, my voice catching. "Sarah, why did you do this?" She looked at me for a long time before answering, her voice cold. "James, I can't live like this anymore. I need to move on, and so do you." Her answer was like a knife cutting through my heart. In my entire life, I had never felt so betrayed. The years we spent building everything together, to her, it was all just a joke. I stood there, unable to say anything else. I could only turn and walk away, without a word of goodbye. Returning home, I continued living in solitude. I had accepted the truth that Sarah was gone forever, but I also realized that I had to move on. Life never stops, no matter how painful it is. Even if I wanted to return to the past, it would never come back. And I had to learn to accept it. even though deep inside the wounds still hurt every day.